Hi, sup? I attended DrachenFest 2025, and this is going to be me talking about it. This is just gonna be a little ramble consisting of stories from DrachenFest 2025, including some adventures I went on, an overall review, and some self-promotion. I am your host and ringmaster. You can call me Zarina. And whether you're a returning member of the Drachen Society or if you were just a vagabond who found me in your YouTube feed, hello, welcome. Grab your beverage of choice. I am drinking my 8th coffee of the day. Get comfortable and relax as I talk about the thrilling adventures of DrachenFest 2025. So if you notice me throughout this video, if you are a watcher and not a primary listener, you might notice me kind of looking off down into this little part of my screen. This video is mildly scripted because I have ADHD and I cannot stay on topic. I have another 40-minute long video that is sitting unedited because it's just me going off the rails every 5 seconds, and it is a nightmare to edit. So here's round 2, baby. So quick note, I am not a professional. I am not directly affiliated with the big boys up top of DrachenFest. I am just a member of Blue Camp who had a blast and who would like to talk about my overall experience. So I'm gonna be talking about things that I wish I knew, things I wished I'd done better, and so on. So be patient with me as I stutter and hesitate, but if you stick around and listen, thank you, you're cool. Leave a comment and just say how I did, or share your DrachenFest experience if you also attended 2025. Or drop in the comments if you are planning on coming and joining me for DrachenFest 2026. So yeah, on that note, let's get into it. So first off, what is DrachenFest? In simple terms, DrachenFest is a blockbuster live-action role-playing event that takes place during summer in Pennsylvania. So basically, 5 dragons rule the world. You have blue, red, silver, green, and shadow, and players are reckoned to the lands by a phenomenon called the Call. Essentially, the dragons call upon soldiers, mages, merchants, and random vagabonds alike to come and fight for them and collect dragon eggs, in which at the end of the week, eggs are counted, and whichever camp has the most eggs wins. It's basically a really big game of capture the flag in a way, where players are sent to go on sieges and try to steal dragon eggs from other camps, or you have to go and complete side quests and mini games to earn eggs as individuals. And I really like it because it's a team activity. You can't go and do sieges and get these dragon eggs without having people. So it is a really good plot point that is really good to focus on if you are coming for the first time and really want to experience a really big, LARP and meet new people and figure out, just the overall mechanics of the game. Now, this isn't the only plot that players are sent on. So the thing that made me fall in love with DrachenFest as a game was just how open world and inclusive it is. Within Drachen are hundreds of players running individual storylines and side plots and side quests, and there's just something for everyone. There is something for your character at every point in time to just run off and go and find something else to do. If you are ever bored of a plot point, you can just dip out and go and do something else. I cannot put out there enough just how good of a LARP DrachenFest is. Whether you're a new LARPer, if you're a LARP veteran, if you're just showing up to have fun, DrachenFest is a really good LARP for that. And I mean, it's perfect for just first-time LARPers, disabled LARPers, if you're not a LARPer at all. And if you just want to experience, getting drunk with a bunch of fae and elves and pirates, we're there for you as well. I personally have been LARPing for 5-6 years, and I've only attended LARPs that had maybe maximum 30 people playing. So I was very overwhelmed. I was very scared and intimidated going into LARP, because I was just very nervous over the people that I would be meeting and the time that I would be spending there, and who I was going to be playing. Zarina was a very last minute character. She was completely changed from what she was supposed to be as well. She went from, you know, she was supposed to be more serene and calm and cool, and she turned into a naive, like fun, spunky, just like little tiefling girl who got along with everybody. And, you know, it just like the character changed completely last minute, and it was okay. Because DrachenFest was, it was such a good LARP to kind of go into blindly. I remember being so stressed about like the mechanics and how it was going to be ran, how combat was going to work, but I'll get a little bit more into that later in the video. But before I do get too far into the video, let me resort back to my notes. I just want to take a minute and recognize all of the DrachenFest officials. So to the camp coordinators, the dragons, the referees, our medical directors, like shout out to all of you, because none of this would have been able to happen without your hard work. And I think all of you are very underappreciated and under-recognized. I feel like you guys, you know, you do so much. And as a first-time player, with how hectic this last year was, you took it all so well. And like you clearly gave your all to make the game as good as it could have been. So like with the situations that we were put in, thank you, Mother Nature. Like just throwing that out there, if you're a DrachenFest official, whether you're, you know, a runner of the game or a camp diplomat, if you are a referee, thank you for being here. You are awesome. And you're the absolute MVPs of DrachenFest. And we are all so happy and privileged for you to be here, like alongside us. None of this would have been able to happen if you weren't here. And on behalf of all of DrachenFest, thank you. So basically, the plot of DrachenFest is to show up, have fun, kill people, and collect eggs. I personally wasn't super involved myself in like the main plot point of DrachenFest. I wasn't very involved in like collecting eggs or attending sieges or rituals. I wasn't focused at all of like the main plot point of the game. So does that mean that I didn't have any fun? No. Does that mean that I wasn't involved in any storylines at all? Not at all. This is my dog, Rocky. We'll give him a little spotlight. This is Rocky. Anyways, was I really involved in the main plot? No. But I still had so much fun venturing off and joining other side plots, including the moon side plot. Unfortunately, which I'm about to get into, but unfortunately with the storms this year, a lot of the side quests and NPC meetups for the moon plot were very delayed or pushed back, and I never got to experience those. So I was not one of the people who actually ended up being a part of the team of people who found out what happened to the moon. All I really remember is that we deemed the new moon, and it was like the LED McDonald's sign that you could vaguely see over the hill. That was as far of the moon plot that I got into. After that, I kind of just like faded out, and joined some other side plots. So yeah, you don't have to stick to the main plot of the story, and you don't have to pick a plot and stay with it the whole week either. You can just go and do whatever. I'm gonna drift a little bit into talking about costuming. So there are no obligations to costuming, just as there are no obligations to stick to the plot. You can choose daily whether you want to dress in full garb or if you just want to be comfortable and stroll the bazaar. You're not pressured with costuming requirements as long as your character is identifiable. That's all people really care about. I think the orcs have the most insane costuming. They look amazing. I'm gonna post up some pictures somewhere in this general area of the screen of what the orcs look like, because they look so cool. And on that, hey, future me, put some like other cool people in this block. Yeah, I'm gonna sit over here for a bit so this can be a picture spot. But yeah, so there's no guidelines to what race you can play, which religion you follow, your backstory, what class you are. There is no limit. And you can just be. And I guarantee you will find someone or multiple somebodies who is gonna vibe with your character and vibe with you and want to go and vibe somewhere else and come up with other plots and just go and have fun. The entire concept of this game is just to show up and have fun. And that is why I love it so much. And another thing on that and on character creation is if you're ever at any point unsure if like what you want is allowed or if you're confused on anything at any time, there are people like constantly willing to and able to chat with you about it all. I'm gonna link the official DrachenFest US Discord in the description. I lost my line. I literally wrote this out to help me. So I am going to link the official DrachenFest US Discord channel in the description for anyone who may need or want it. There are plenty of sub-channels about every topic, and I know everyone in there will be more than happy to welcome you either into DrachenFest or welcome you back to DrachenFest. In the Discord, you can get a better idea of the different camps and just where exactly your character fits. You can get information on different roles, such as, you know, healers or bards. There's information on different archives. If you have a question, it's all in the Discord. And it isn't just used for informative purposes either. There are channels dedicated to showing off your garb, recent craft projects, if you need travel advice. There is a section for asking questions to veterans and disability accessibility questions, discussions on the roles you may want to play. It's all right there, and there are plenty of people to make sure that your DrachenFest experience goes as smoothly and stress-free as you'd want it to be. So if you are a returning member or if you are planning on coming to DrachenFest, go pop in that Discord, say hello, all the good stuff. Now, do I have to be an experienced LARPer or an experienced role player to attend DrachenFest? No. You don't have to have any experience in any of this fantastical role-playing stuff that we do. You are more than okay to just show up and play yourself. You can order some cheap garb from Amazon and just go about your day with a pint of beer. Like, no one is going to shove you aside or exclude you from the game just because of how cheap your garb is or what your character is if you have no idea how to put on an accent. Like, no one's gonna shun you for it. You don't need to stress about spending all this money on custom wigs and outfits. You can show up with the bare minimum and no one will be upset with you because of it. Your DrachenFest is your DrachenFest, and you can play it however you want on your own schedule, as long as you're sticking to the basic requirements of the rulebook and being a decent person. It's a free game, it's open world, this is your story, you're the main character, and you should play the game like you are. Or else you're gonna spend all of the time stressing about others' gameplay and whether or not you were good enough, and you're gonna go home with all of this weight on your shoulders of, wow, I wasted so much time and so much money being worried, when at the end of the day, like, all you have to do is play a game. Adding on to that, that is something that I wish was preached more, is that you're going on vacation. You're not going on a work trip. You're not at DrachenFest on payroll. I'm looking at you, diplomats and medical directors and all of the people who have higher positions at DrachenFest. You are coming to play a game. And what is the point of going on vacation if all you're going to be doing is worrying and stressing and thinking about logistics and all of these things? It is a game. Come and play the game and have fun and stop being so stressed out over what you look like, how much money you spent on what you're wearing, how much money you're bringing to the game. Like, just come and play the game and have a good time. Because at the end of the day, that is all that any of us are trying to do, is get away from the hectic world of the world. We're just trying to come and play a game and have fun and be silly little characters in a campsite. So the one thing I wish was told to me more is, this isn't a work trip, this isn't payroll, have fun. So no experience is ever truly 100% positive. So on that note, what were my cons of DrachenFest 2025? I am so upset I did not get to die. So when you die in DrachenFest, in the world of DrachenFest, you go to a place called Limbus Shakai. And Limbus Shakai is basically our afterlife. So whenever a character dies, they go to Limbus, depending on how they die, all kinds of things add into it. But in Limbus, you have to complete mini games and side quests and try to get pulled out of Limbus in a way. From what I know, from what I have heard, again, I did not get to die this last year. With all of the storms and just the weather issues, I did not have any time to dedicate time out of my day to go and try and get murdered. So I unfortunately did not get to experience Limbus, but hopefully this year will be my year of death. Kind of going into the storms thing, holy shit. It was bad. The storms this year are really, like, it's no laughing matter. A lot of people lost a lot of things. I remember, I think it was the first storm, but when one of the storms had hit, I was up in the bazaar. So to lay it out for you, you have the bazaar, the camp store is in the very back of the bazaar, you have Heart Attack Hill, you have the orc camp, and then you have all of the other camps, plus the lake. So Blue Camp, we happen to be right on the lake, and my tent happened to be a whole 6 feet away from the lake. When I was stomping in those pegs to pull up our tent, I was literally like holding on to one of my friends, leaning over, trying to stomp in the peg, because of just how close we were to the lake. And I remember sitting up in the bazaar when that first storm hit, and I watched a tree go down. I watched the referees' tents go down. I watched tent poles snap. After the storm had passed and it was relatively safe to go back to camp, because I was gonna go and check on all of my friends, make sure all of our stuff was okay. And on my way back, I think the Alchemist Guild had fallen, the Bard Society was doing everything in their power to shelter and save their instruments. I know Cursed Coffee Company had a pretty bad hit. A gentleman that I had passed on the way down, his entire tent was soaked and fallen, and all of his stuff inside was soaked and fallen. And within the 5 minutes that it took me to walk down a road, another tree had fallen and was inches away from landing on somebody and getting people severely hurt. The way that the storms were handled by the DrachenFest officials, by our referees and our emergency crew, it was all handled so well. People, as far as I know, from what I've heard, no one got severely injured due to the storms. I think the most weather-related issues we had medically were people falling and going down because of heat stroke and not being properly hydrated, not eating enough food during the time. And on top of the heat, everyone was running around camp to camp making sure other camp members were okay and safe and doing what they could and doing their part to try and help any way we could. I know Blue Camp, we had a lot of people from Blue Camp going to all of the camps, going to the bazaar, to Shadow, Red, Silver, Green. We had Blue Camp members all over Drac, and we had some people from Shadow and Red and Silver and Green come to Blue Camp and make sure that we were okay. It truly did show just how much of a community DrachenFest is. And the storms did ruin the experience for a lot of people. And the storms are one of the reasons why I know a few people that I met this last year aren't coming back, because it was just so hard mentally to process the fact of, wow, I spent all this time and all this money to come here and do all of these things, and it was all literally washed away. And to those people who did have their experience like ruined because of the storms, I'm so sorry. And like, my heart genuinely goes out to you. And I really hope that you will come back. I really hope that you will come back around to DrachenFest. And if you do end up coming back and you see me, please come say hello so I can give you a purple feather and welcome you into the Less Shitty cult, which I will talk about here in a minute. But with the storms, it was a few of those storm moments were some of my highlights. And I feel so bad saying that, because again, like, the storms knocked out so many people and so much stuff. One of my close friends did end up losing a lot, if not all of their stuff, including their tent and their sleeping gear. They lost it all, and like, it was heartbreaking. But within all of those negatives and all of like the bad things that the storm did, it brought everyone together. I'm gonna find the pictures and I'll post them up to the side over here, but we had people in Blue Camp just like under the altar doing what they could to hold it up. We were literally bracing the altar, and we weren't upset, we weren't crying, like we weren't negative. We were all singing sea shanties and talking and laughing and trying to make as much light of the situation as we could. That first storm was so bad that our opening ceremonies got pushed back. And I'm not talking about the storms in any specific order. I am talking about all of the storms all at once. So my time is very offset, because the altar thing definitely happened closer to the middle of the week. But yeah, like, with disaster came so much community and so much pride. And that is the main reason why I am coming back to DrachenFest this next year, is because of the community and the family that had been formed within Drac. And even in such a terrible situation where actual safety concerns were going on, we still had each other and we still relied on each other for help and community. And it was just, it was amazing. I love DrachenFest. I love everyone at DrachenFest. Yeah, so if you were planning on coming back this year, you're awesome. If you are a person from last year who is not planning on coming back this year because of the storms, I support you 100%. But if you do come back, I'll give you the biggest hug, and I will give you a purple feather. So into that, I'm gonna go into some self-promotion.
Is your world shitty?
Do you suffer from chronic existential dread?
You might be living with severe world shittiness!
Go.
But there's hope.
I am producing the Less Shitty Cult!
Before the Less Shitty cult, I just walked past problems. But now, I create them, but fun! I don't just clean up the park. I release biodegradable confetti into it. Balance! Ask yourself, what if the world didn't need to be perfect? What if it just needed to be slightly less shitty? Join today, because if everything is chaos, you might as well make it helpful chaos. Fuck shit!
Be less shitty!
So Zarina started a Less Shitty cult this last year. And most individuals who are a part of the Less Shitty cult have no idea that they are a part of it. So if you are watching this and you are an individual who received a purple feather from me, from my character, welcome to the Less Shitty cult. Our goal, make the world less shitty than how you found it. So if you're a fan of Critical Role, you may be a little bit knowledgeable about the character Molly Mock Tea Leaf. And my character wears a black sash that she usually wears tied around her thigh or her arm that basically says, leave every place a little less shitty than how you found it. And in a separate text, it says, be the chaos you wish to see in the world. And it is all written in Draconic. So that is Zarina's entire character. That's her entire standpoint. She just wants to make the world a little bit chaotic in a positive way. She wants to spread love and vibes and just make everyone feel a little bit less shitty in a shitty situation. If you happen to be there and within the audience, I'm gonna cry thinking about this. If you were one of the people in the audience at Blue Camp at the altar when I did my burlesque show, that I did my like burlesque like magic show, if you were there and you were one of the people who actually like sat and watched and who approached me at the end and like thanked me for doing it and like, thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and telling me how much that meant to you, because I'm so happy that my character was able to do exactly what she was supposed to, and that was just to spread joy and make people happy. And I'm so happy that that is what ended up happening. So if you are one of the people who, you know, reached out to me or who met me after the performance, if you were one of the people who ate a pickle out of my top hat, like, thank you. I love you so much. And please come say hello to me so I can give you a trinket. Okay, self-promo aside, welcome to the section about war. So I am now going to drift into talking about combat and final fight and how that might work and look like at DrachenFest. But first, I'm going to crack open my Red Bull. I started this at 2 p.m. It is now 7. Okay, so yeah, this next part of the video, I am talking about combat, final fight. I'm going to be talking about people getting jumped, robbed. I'm going to be talking about out-of-place safety calls and whatever else I end up mentioning in this next little bit of video. So I did not get into many scuffles during the actual game of DrachenFest. Zarina is a ranged fighter. She's an archer, and there is really no reason for me to be walking around, at least that I see. I don't see any reason to be walking around with a recurve bow and a fully loaded quiver strapped to my back. Some people do. Some people do walk around with their weapons strapped on them at all times, and that is props to you, because some of those are heavy. But I didn't have any moments where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna fight some people. I'm gonna go seek violence. I didn't have any of those moments during Drachen this year. I plan on doing more of that this next year. But let's see, the closest I got to an actual like kerfuffle was when I robbed somebody. And to that guy, if you were watching this, I am so sorry. I wouldn't even call it a true violent encounter. I literally was just walking up to the bazaar, to the showers, and because you know, those are the good showers. And I came across a guy and I was like, hey kid, give me some money. And he went, oh yeah, sure. Look, gets in his pouch. Hello, Rocky. This is Rocky. Pulls out like the last 2 copper. I watched this man dump out moths and dust in 2 copper into his hand. And then he just gave me the copper. It was like, clearly you need it more than I do. And I was like, I just stood there holding his copper while he walked away. And I was like, I am so sorry. So to that man, find me this next game. If you are the man that I robbed, come find me. I'll pay you back. I'm sorry. Now, continuing on the subject of fighting, I did have one super huge, memorable fighting experience during Final Fight. In short terms, I got to watch my best friend get murdered, resurrected, and then murdered again, all within the span of like 5 minutes. We have a little guest. So yeah, picture this. I am standing on the front lines of Blue Camp with my trusty bow and arrow, and I watch in terror as my best friend Magnolia gets striked down by another Magnolia. Crazy, right? Hi, Magnolias. And I watch as she dies, and I was like, oh no, Magnolia, you know, my best friend. So in short moments, she gets resurrected by a necromancer. And I swear in the 5 seconds that I looked away, the necromancer sent her to kill me. So I look away, I look back, and suddenly Magnolia, I'll throw in that shot here, comes crawling at me like a zombie. And I have my bow pulled back. I am about to shoot her, but in real life, if you're a LARPer, you know what those teardrop arrows feel like when they are shot at you from a ranged distance. Now, I did not want my friend figuring out what it felt like to get shot by a teardrop arrow from 6 feet away. So I'm standing there, and in real life, I'm thinking, wow, that's gonna hurt if I shoot her. I shouldn't shoot her. And then in character, I'm like, oh no, that's my best friend. I don't want to shoot my best friend. What do I do? Some man with a trusty, dusty, big-ass shield comes in and bashes in Magnolia's skull. And I got to sit there and hold my best friend as she died in my arms. And it was quite an experience. It was a heavy, heavy moment of roleplay. I had tears. The photographers were eating it up. We actually had one of the videographers come up close to us and go, no, do that again, do that again. So we're sitting, we're just like, okay, like crying. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Final Fight really was such a captivating experience. Like nothing will ever top the feeling of running headfirst into a battlefield like some insane action thriller. I felt like I was running into the Battle of Troy. I think what made Final Fight like 100 times better was just the fact that we were all so sheltered and held back throughout the week because of the storms that I think a lot of us just had the zoomies and we just wanted to get out there and run and scream and fight. And I think that's just what made it so much more fun, was that we all truly were just like rabid dogs left off of our leash. It really felt like that one scene in The Croods where it's like, release the baby, and then it's immediately followed by a rabid child. That is, I don't know, we finally got to take the time to just like run around and do all of what we were supposed to be doing the rest of the week. And it was just all because of the weather. But we made the best of it, and Final Fight really showed it. I'm sure I will have either some clips or some pictures panning through somewhere on the screen. I'm looking at you, future me. But with all of this, I survived. I didn't die. I made it through all of Final Fight, and that's insane to me. I go to live action role plays for the role playing aspect and to embark on like adventures and be a character and just like not have to worry about the real world stuff. I don't go into LARPs planning on fighting. But again, with the zoomies, I guess I just had I guess I had Katniss Everdeen just take over my body, because at the end, whenever I met up with my friends who had died, who were all apparently watching from the castle top, they had said that I was hitting some pretty cool Katniss Everdeen-esque poses during the thing. So I guess I'm really good at combat, and I guess I survived and I didn't die. It's crazy to me. So this last little bit of the video is just gonna be me talking about like overall highlights. I'm gonna mention some people, give some people some shout outs. And to those shout outs, let me just go down my list. I have Magnolia, Dr. Nereus, Stellari, Brodo, Carrion, Madame Marlowe, Lucci, Fenris, TaskRabbit, Goat, Keck. I cannot even name all of you. Davvy, like I cannot name all of you. You all are so cool, and this just goes out to Blue Camp. My heart goes out to Blue Camp. I love you guys so much. Just overall shout out to Blue Camp. Shout out to the referees. Shout out to our medical directors. Hi, Lawrence. just shout out to all of you because you guys are all so cool and I love you. My Drachen highlights. So my number one highlight 100% was the whole final fight situation where I got to go on that really harsh sense of roleplay with Magnolia and the surrounding people. Not only was I sitting there, you know, crying over my dead best friend, but I also had healers like running up to me, like trying to pull me back and be like, she's gone, she's not coming back. It was such a crazy moment of roleplay. And that was what I go to live action roleplays for. So to everyone who was a part of that little scene, you guys are awesome, love you. That was a lot of fun, that was really cool. I think another really big highlight was I was walking around just all of the camps. I was with another individual and we were just walking around, walking the sidewalks, going from camp to camp at night. I'm pretty sure we were a little bit intoxicated and we were just laughing and talking. At some point we had gotten approached by some orcs. We had been warned a little bit up the path that there were some orcs walking around and they were robbing people to keep an eye out. So we saw the orcs approaching and my smart, beautiful, wonderful character decided to hide behind a tree that was about this wide. So you just see the rest of me poking out from behind the tree while I am hysterically laughing my ass off, going, shh, shh. If we can't see them, they can't see us. That was a lot of fun. Let's see, other highlights. Fighting in the ritual circle or fighting in our little like fighting pit in Blue Camp. Holy crap, that was so much fun. We were just doing some like overall warm-ups and people were teaching other people how to do theatrical combat. That was a lot of fun to watch and participate in. Every single night at Blue Camp was a highlight for me. There was never a dull moment. Sitting around the altar and, you know, whether it was the burlesque show, like that was such a big highlight for me too. With everyone had their attention on me and there was so many people there. All of the tables were filled. There were people standing. Most of the orcs were there. The Orc King was there. And that was so much fun. And even without that night, like just sitting at the altar with everyone while everyone is like drinking and sharing stories and having little role play moments, singing sea shanties with the bards. Blue Camp nightlife was definitely one of my biggest highlights and why I will be coming back and staying with Blue Camp. Because I don't like sleep. So I would much rather, you know, stay up all hours of the night at the altar surrounded by people singing and laughing and being loud than be nice and serene and calm in my tent. Another highlight is I did get cursed. One of the things that I wanted to do this year was go to Cursed Coffee. And for those of you who don't know, Cursed Coffee is a individual franchise in the bazaar. My nose itches, I'm so sorry. Ugh. Anyways, yeah. So Cursed Coffee, it is a franchise up in the bazaar and it is an actual coffee shop and you can pay either through curse or coin. So I believe one coffee costs 1 silver and all you have to do is bring up your own mug. I think they might have cups there for people who don't have a mug, but I would just recommend bringing a mug. And they will fill up your mug with coffee, with whatever coffee that you pick for a silver. I think, please fact check me on this. Or you can pay through a curse in which they will give you a pretty little sticker that has a curse on it. And the curses last differently depending on what the curse is. So when I went up there, it was right after I was helping a few people out after one of the storms and I went to Cursed Coffee. I was like, hey, I don't know if you guys are in business because of the recent things. And they were like, we just actually got like reset up, like 100%, come and get something. They were like, do you want to make a role play moment out of it? Or are you just tired and want a coffee? I was like, let's do a little role play moment. So we got in a character and they asked me if I wanted to pay through curse or coin and I picked curse. And my curse was that I had to talk in questions either until I slept for so many hours or until someone willingly took it off of me. So the next few hours was just me running around with my coffee just asking people questions. I would go up to somebody and be like, do you want a curse? And they'd say, well, what's the curse? And I say, what is the curse? And it was so much fun. If you see this video and you're the one that I gave the curse to, you were so much fun. Thank you. The last highlight I can think of at this moment right now at my very sleep deprived 8-9 o'clock self. It was, I think, the first night of Game On. Damn. It was the first night of Game On. And we were just warming up to our characters. I was still figuring out what exactly Zarina's character was. And I was out just stargazing, and some people joined me. They were like, hey, like, what are you doing? What are you up to? And I very geniusly responded with, I'm looking at the dicks in the sky. I was commenting on the constellations, and I was saying that you could find dicks in the sky if you looked hard enough at the constellations. And I ended up getting, like, I think 10 individual people all coming in and being like, yeah, I see some. And then some were like, I have no idea what name you're talking about. We got a really nice gaggle of very different characters all staring profusely at the sky, desperately trying to find the dicks in the sky. So that was a lot of fun. I know I have so many more highlights. I just cannot think of them. Ooh, Magnolia and my character, we got matching tattoos before Final Fight. I'll put a picture of that here. Shout out to Magnolia. And I know I already did shout outs, but I just want to say it again. Thank you, Magnolia, Dr. Nereus, Brodo, Carrion, Madame Marlowe, Stellari, everyone. Thank you. You're so cool. I can only shout out people so many times. But on that note, I think that's all that I have for this video. If you enjoyed this and want me to do more videos about LARP, maybe I'll do one talking about Zarina and her backstory and her character. Maybe I will do a more specific Q&A themed video where I ask other DrachenFest players, you know, what their experience was like. Maybe I'll share other people's stories. But for right now, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, thank you. Love you. Yeah, that's all. Be less shitty. Be the chaos you wish to see in the world. Leave every place a little less shitty than how you found it. Join my cult. All the cool stuff. Drink water, not energy drinks. Okay.